Good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to this hump day, Wednesday, the 10th of January. Hope your week's going well so far. We are in the middle of this week, not much yet in earnings season. Hopefully, we'll start to get some stuff. Well, we know on Friday, we have a pretty big day because the market, we got the banks and stuff starting to report. Yesterday was a mixed bag in terms of returns. We'll talk about that more when Dave joins us here in just a few seconds. Before we do that, though, let's not forget that there are so many things in this world that you and we have no control over. You can control the amount of risk you have in your portfolio. Two things, though. You need to know how much risk you already have in that portfolio. And second, you need to know how much risk you should have in that portfolio based on your current circumstances. And give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule your core retirement design. Hey, with that, we've got Dave up next.
Light FM Coldplay. Hello there. I'm glad you're with me this morning. It's Morning Dave. We're at 8:41 here. That's 19 before 9. Let's find out what Wall Street's doing money-wise this morning. How are your stocks handling it? Let's go downtown to Statler Financial Services' very own Phillip Statler, who's on the line. Phillip, good morning. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Dave. How you doing? Well, Dave, the middle of the week. Hey, news is hard to come by this week until we get to Friday.
Yeah, we're kind of in that point. I mean, we're going to get the unemployment stuff and the first-time claims tomorrow, and that's about it. But just the floodgates open on Friday, and you and I were both trying to find anybody that had reported much, and we can't even find details on the one stock folks have heard of that done anything. On the other hand, some went on yesterday, and we were talking about it. Neither one of us know of any news item or anything that would have brought the blue chips down, but it was one of those days that was kind of like the day before. 157 down on the Dow yesterday, 7 down on the S&P. That's pretty close to hold steady. NASDAQ gained a little bit of ground, and that kind of makes me feel a couple of blue chip stocks like, can you say, Boeing, continue to have a bad day, wouldn't you guess?
I'm thinking so, based on the weight and what's happening in that index. I'm sure there's still some pressure there from Boeing.
I do not understand how they calculate the Dow Jones Index and really don't care all that much. But yeah, one stock having a 6% down trade on the day can move the Dow down like 50 times what the actual price of the stock that went down was. So there's a really amplified effect on a price-weighted index like the Dow, and it can almost be as weird as the NASDAQ can be when there's a tech news item out, just because the weight on the stock will end up doing weird things to the overall index, won't it?
It will, when it's weighted that way. It just takes one of the big behemoths to make some waves within that index itself, one way or the other.
Absolutely, and Boeing is one of those companies that can do that. I mean, you and I both looked at capital goods purchases on a quarterly or a monthly report and said, "Oh yeah, it was up because somebody bought 5 airplanes." It really that's one of those companies that can actually even change a national figure, can't they?
They can, because of obviously the price of the product they sell.
Absolutely. You and I were kind of giggling when we first got on the phone this morning. We've been kind of waiting for the issuance of that exchange-traded fund on Bitcoin, and everybody went a dither yesterday for a little while when there was an announcement coming out of the SEC's account that, yes, they've approved the fund. Everybody went verklempt, and then the SEC, this is our government supervising agency, the Securities and Exchange Commission, they said, oh, no, that was wrong. We got hacked. Just how confident are you in our government this morning, Phillip?
Yeah, and they got hacked because they don't have dual authentication evidently on their cell phones, and that seems to be how they got hacked. And so that's in this industry, that's kind of security 101 these days.
You kind of threw me. I can't even get into my Gmail account without 2-level authentication, and now we're sitting at the guys that can swing the stock market 10,000 points by sneezing, and they still are using Android version 1 or something with no authentication on their accounts. You got to kind of wonder down the line about this, don't you?
You do, definitely. And everybody's waited with bated breath about this Bitcoin ETF, and Yeah, because the big day it was supposed to get approved today and roll out. Well, that's obviously not going to happen.
Absolutely not. And yesterday, like I said, it was just exciting as all get out for a little while until they found out, oops, it was a computer error. Other tidbits out here, I got to believe that Tesla and General Motors and Volkswagen and the rest of them aren't happy to hear Honda is finally breaking down, and starting in the next model year in 2026, they're going to introduce an EV. Now, I'm not 100% confident that EVs are going to be a dominant part of the auto industry anytime soon, but Honda's kind of one of the big gorillas on the block, and that's got to dilute the pond a little bit.
Well, it will. It's, give somebody more choices, and more choices mean that the companies that are there now are going to have to work harder to keep their market share.
Absolutely. Like you said, we don't have many reports to speak of today, but we got a bunch of upgrades and downgrades. And one of the upgrades that I noticed is Amazon had a good day yesterday, which probably influenced the NASDAQ number a lot. They went up 1.5% after one of the major analysts said that they were going to be one of the top performing mega cap stocks in 2024 because they're going full court press on artificial intelligence. There's two magic words all in one. Number one, top performing, and number two, he mentioned artificial intelligence. So Amazon is going to go through the roof, even though they don't know for sure what they're going to do with it, right?
Oh, that's right. I mean, trying to harness AI is not as easy as it sounds, right? It's out there, people are using it, but how do you use it commercially to help profit from it? That's going to be the key when people figure that part out.
I kind of think they got a pretty good handle on it even without a fancy pants AI program. I mean, you scan for one thing on your Amazon app, and the next thing you know, you got ads for that exact item on every single social media thing you check in on. I think Amazon's got it down all right. They don't need a new fancy pants AI engine, do they?
It doesn't seem that way, but they're always trying to advance the ball as much as they can.
Oh yeah, Amazon is kind of like the old radio comedy bit that we played back in the 70s. They're everywhere, and you can't get rid of them. Other tidbits and upgrades, I know you saw a pile of them, and we did have one report but no details. I gathered WD-40 stuck a pretty good number, huh?
Well, they did. They beat by about 28 cents a share. They came out at $1.28 versus $1. So I didn't see the actual revenue number anywhere, and trying to find their stock price right now has been a little challenging as well. So, but they did have a good quarter. Whether or not they can continue is, because they're one of those. They've been around for a while, right? And so they're a one product company though, and that can go against you sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of like orange juice. They kind of become the generic, and there's a whole lot of knockoff brands as well that, periodically to save a nickel, I'll find myself buying the Dollar General House brand instead of WD-40, and I almost feel guilty, but then I check out and found out I've saved 50 cents, and the guilt goes away.
Goes away real quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, real quick in the process, but that's not good news for WD-40 because they're kind of like Kleenex, I guess. It's a quiet day today. A little later on today, we're going to get a wholesale inventory number, which probably isn't going to move the market all that terribly much. We might hear specifics from KB Home later on today. I know they're supposed to be reporting, and that could be a market mover, but it's a big home builder. Tomorrow, it really starts opening up. We're going to get the CPI numbers. Consumer inflation, initial jobless claims, and that might very well be the most eventful day of the week until earnings season begins on Friday.
Well, that's right. It will be. Hey, I did find WD-40, and they're having a great day. They're actually hitting a 52-week high this morning.
Cool.
They're up almost 7%. They'll open at a new 52-week high. So their earnings were well appreciated by the market.
We'll take that happily. Resetting the table for the morning. It was an off day for the blue chips yesterday. A little bit of a modest growth day for the more adventurous issues. 45 minutes before we open this morning, what are we looking at?
So this morning, we got a tinge of red, not a lot. You got the Dow down $7. You got the S&P 500 down $2, and you got the NASDAQ 100 down $10. So, very, very small downward movement right now. You got silver flat right now, gold's up by a little over 0.1%. Crude oil's I think that's about where it was yesterday at $73.22, but it's up a dollar. 1.3% from yesterday's close.
Yeah, I think we're developing one of those intraday cycles because 73.21 strikes me as about where it was yesterday morning, too. Overseas markets, the Asian Rim market looked at our blue chips yesterday and they said, whoa, Seabiscuit, go and sell something. So the Chinese mainland markets were down worse than the other ones, but everybody was off. Japan had the worst day of the well, they had a good day. They were the outlier. They were actually up 2%. Everybody else was off about 0.5% at the close at 6 a.m. Europe following our futures down, but no trend to speak of. 1/100th of a percent, 6/100ths of a percent. The overall index is down 0.07 of a percent this morning, halfway through the European trading day. Getting my retirement together and probably trying to avoid a Bitcoin fund at the moment. That takes some expertise. How do I find you to get my retirement on track, Phillip?
Dave, the most important thing is how much risk do you have in your portfolio and how much risk should you have in your portfolio? That's why I developed the core retirement design. Give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule your core retirement analysis. And then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning on Highlands News Talk 730, 95.3 FM.
And you and me back here tomorrow morning, same time on Light FM. Phillip, thank you so much. Make it a good day.
All right, have a good one.
Take care. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services. Phillip Statler. You can't.
Hey, folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. Have a great day. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, have a great one. Bye now.